The Chicago Bulls are a funny team, man. I can never figure these guys out. I mean, I know there is a lot of parity in the league this season, so anyone can win on a given night. It doesn't matter if you're the worst team in the league or the best team in the league. But what a bounce back win after the Bulls really being down in the dumps and hitting a new low after that loss to the Orlando Magic, in which they came back from being down 19 to one of the worst teams in the league, but then blowing the lead in the final seconds with a game-winning 3 from Jalen Suggs. You've got Lavine expressing his frustration with Billy Donovan's decision to sit him in the closing minutes out of the game after going 1 for 14, and we're looking ahead at their schedule and thinking, when are we going to get this next win with the tough road that we have ahead? I think a lot of us Bulls fans would have thought that this could have turned into a 9 or 10 game losing streak with the matchups they had ahead of them, and also just by the way the Bulls were playing in general. But lo and behold, the Boston Celtics come to town, sporting the best record in the NBA, winners of 9 straight games, and you think the Bulls are likely going to get pummeled considering they couldn't even beat a Magic team without some of their best players. But no, the Bulls not only win this game, but win it handily, really controlling the game throughout. I believe Boston only had 1 lead in the game, and it was within the first few possessions. Yes, the Celtics did give the Bulls a little bit of a scare when they finally started knocking down threes in the fourth quarter and cut the lead to single digits, but the Bulls didn't panic. They didn't get careless with the ball. They stayed focused and did what they needed to do in playing smart basketball. Well, sort of. I'll get to some of those mental lapses down the stretch on offense, but they kept their composure, got some stops, and never let the Celtics back to within 2 possessions for the rest of the game. A great team win, a morale booster after a devastating loss to the Magic, and also just a great response as a collective unit, knowing they can't keep playing like they have been over the last 4 games in that losing streak where the Bulls were straight up playing very bad basketball. Also, it's funny because I just uploaded a video recently on the NBA channel M1 Hoops talking about how the Celtics are on a tear and cannot be stopped. Little did I know the Bulls were going to be the ones that would be stopping them. Yet again, by the way, the Bulls have handed the Celtics 2 of their 4 losses this season. Now, I'll talk about some of the individual performances, of course, but honestly, what I really liked most about this game was the guys played well together as a team. How everyone was contributing in some fashion. The entire starting lineup finished in double figures. Guys were moving the ball around, finishing the game with 26 assists as a team, 10 steals. They were aggressive and active and pestering the Celtics, forcing 15 turnovers. And the Bulls actually shot the ball well, finishing the game shooting 51%, 48% from 3, going 14 for 29. Haven't seen a game like that from the Bulls shooting from deep on that kind of volume in a long time. And guess what? They also held the Celtics to 38% from 3, which I know is still pretty good. But this is also the best 3-point shooting team in the league that we're talking about here. The Bulls also destroyed the Celtics on the boards, out-rebounding them 51-38. The Drummond and Vucevic effect. I've said it before, when going up against teams that don't really have a true center and like to go small, this is where Vooch and Drummond have to eat, and indeed they did. Drummond, we all know, is one of the greatest rebounders in the history of the game. He pulled down, 11 rebounds in the first half alone after only playing 8 minutes. I'm always still baffled at just how good he is when it comes to rebounding the ball. Call him one-dimensional if you want, but he is elite at that particular skill set, especially when it comes to grabbing offensive boards. Vucevic, another strong night. I do wish the Bulls would have gone to him more in the post because there were countless mismatches on him where he would have Marcus Smart guarding him, and Vooch was very efficient tonight too, going 6 for 7 from the field, finished the game with 12 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists. You know, Vooch still remains low-key one of the most underrated passers in the NBA, big man passer. That is coming off 7 assists he had the other night against the Magic. That's why it gets me when people talk about Vucevic, how he's on the decline because he's not putting up 20 points per game like we saw him do with the Magic. Dude is a very smart player and is able to be productive in other ways, and it's not like you can expect him to score over 20 points per game when he's playing alongside DeRozan and Lavine. Speaking of which, Lavine, obviously a much better game. Still not that efficient, but he wasn't 1 for 14, and he did have 5 3-pointers, went 5 for 10 from deep, 8 for 20 overall. And what was also different about Lavine in this game was that he actually passed the ball very well, making the right passes, finding the open man on the cut, and even his defense tonight was solid, picking up a couple steals, deflecting passes, forcing turnovers. I do still have to pull my hair out sometimes with some of his decision making, especially late in games, just some of his shots. I'm thinking, why? I feel like Zach really likes to make a statement when a team is on a run and hit them with a gut punch, but then ends up missing these really difficult contested shots, and it gives the opposing team an opportunity to capitalize. But either way, I'm not going to harp on Zach because overall he had a good game. A good response from a very poor play the other night. Finished the game with 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. And then DeMar DeRozan, lighting it up from deep. Who says this guy can't hit threes? I don't know why, but it felt like DeMar hit, 5 threes tonight, but then I looked at the box score and realized he only had 3, but a perfect 3 for 3. He was more collected tonight in leading the team. Actually, all of the big three came out very strong and aggressive to start the game, which is something we really haven't seen all season. DeMar finished the game with 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. He was also a plus 20 on the night. And hey, how about another strong night from Patrick Williams? Actually, I've really never seen Pat play like this. You guys all saw that step back over Tatum after faking him out on a crossover. You don't really see Tatum getting cooked often. What I like seeing from Pat in this game was his shot creation, taking the ball, taking matters into his own hands, and setting up jumpers, and he was actually hitting them this time. He finished the game going 6 for 9, 3 for 4 from 3, 17 points, which I believe is a season high, and he also played great defense on Tatum and Jaylen Brown, as him and Ayo really switched up a lot in guarding those two. Both of them actually did very well on defense tonight, and for Ayo, those quick drives to the basket, I like that he wasn't just settling for threes, he was making the quick first step to the basket, finishing with 10 points, and was plus 16 on the night. And for the Bulls bench, you had the great energy from Javonte Green and Alex Caruso on both ends of the floor, really. This was the first time we've seen a strong offensive game from Caruso, finally knocking down some threes. He also had 4 steals in this one. It was a huge piece for why the Celtics really struggled so much with their outside shot, except for Horford. He was just trash, missing point-blank threes. And then, of course, I talked about Drummond snagging the 12 rebounds on 13 minutes. And then there was Coby. Yeah, he did actually have a nice drive to the basket in the fourth when the Bulls really needed a bucket after the Celtics cut the lead to single digits. But yeah, I mean, Coby, the shot selection, also just the missed shots on poor shot selection. It's one thing to take a bad shot, but you make it. I never thought that Dragic would be in the rotation ahead of Coby White, but here we are. Hope Dragic is okay, by the way. Hurt his shoulder early in the game, only played 7 minutes. We'll have to wait and hear a status on him after the game because, yeah, at this point, we're going to need his veteran IQ on the court over these next few games, going up against some tough competition. So, hey, the Bulls get a win. Snap the 4-game losing streak. They improved to 7-10. They're off tomorrow and then take on the Bucks for the first time this season in Milwaukee. I'll have a live game chat for that. Feel free to join if you would like. And as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.